Before diving into this incredible story, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell. Every story here has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. Samantha Hayes, 28, stood outside the clinic, her palms sweating and her heart heavy. Tears threatened to fall as she stared at the cold writing on the facade: Reproductive Health Center, consultation and abortion inside. Doctors and nurses seemed detached and professional, but Samantha saw only one irreversible decision that would change her life forever. Her husband, Daniel, wasn't there. Financial difficulties and the fear of not being ready for 2 babies at once had tipped the scales toward this decision, which she thought she had to make alone. She was walking forward, resigned, when a rustling behind her caught her attention. A woman with silver hair, wearing a long midnight blue dress and holding a small crystal box, beckoned him closer. Her gaze was piercing, almost hypnotic. "You are about to take a path you can never erase," the woman whispered. "Who are you?" Samantha stammered, surprised and suspicious. "A seer," she replied simply. "I see choices and destinies, and I can show you what you cannot yet see." Samantha instinctively stepped back, but some invisible force urged her to stay. The psychic reached out and slowly opened the small box. Inside, a string of beads and a blurry photograph of 2 smiling babies. "These children, they are your twins," the psychic said with a certainty that made Samantha shudder. "But I can't. I'm not ready," Samantha sobbed. "Life has given you a choice, but there is always another way. Let me show you what the future could be." Before Samantha could understand, the psychic took her hand and squeezed it gently. In her eyes, Samantha saw a glimpse of a bright future, filled with laughter, sleepless nights, and immeasurable love. She saw Daniel holding the twins in his arms, a simple but profound happiness that eclipsed all her fears and doubts. Samantha's heart was pounding. The clinic suddenly seemed so far away, almost unreal. She knew she had to listen to what she had just seen. I can't. I can't lose them," she whispered. The psychic nodded, a kind smile on her lips. "So trust your heart. Sometimes it knows better than reason." Samantha turned away from the clinic with tears in her eyes, but this time, tears of determination and hope. She was going to change the course of her life, and that of her twins. Samantha Hayes walked slowly through the city streets, still trembling from her encounter with the psychic. The cool late afternoon wind ruffled her dark hair, and each step reminded her of the weight of what she had almost done. 2 lives were at stake, 2 souls she had considered erasing out of fear and doubt. She thought back to the vision the psychic had shown her, Daniel holding the twins, the children's laughter filling a house that seemed full of light and love. Samantha felt a gentle warmth fill her chest. And yet, the questions returned: am I ready? Are we financially ready? What if I can't make it? She entered a small cafe to calm down. The scent of freshly brewed coffee and the clinking of cups brought her temporary comfort. As she sat down by the window, her phone buzzed. It was Daniel. "Samantha. I want you to know that I'm here for you," he said, his voice shaky but sincere. "I know," she replied, her throat tight. I don't know how to tell you yet." The silence that followed was heavy with unspoken words. Samantha knew she should speak, but the words seemed impossible to formulate. Then she thought about the psychic and what she had seen. Perhaps this encounter was no accident. Perhaps someone, or something, had wanted to show her the light at the end of the tunnel. "Daniel. I think I can't lose them," she finally murmured. "Lose them? Who?" he asked, surprised. "The babies, our twins," Samantha said, tears rolling down her cheeks. I want to keep them." Daniel was silent for a moment, then a warm smile lit up his face. "Then we'll get through this, Samantha. Together. No matter how difficult it gets." That simple word, together, melted all of Samantha's fears. She realized that the psychic had not only shown her a possible future, she had given her the courage to choose it. As she left the cafe, a strange but comforting feeling accompanied her. The life she had considered leaving behind now lay before her, fragile but full of hope. And Samantha knew this was only the beginning of a journey that would change her life forever. As Samantha's belly began to round, the world around her suddenly felt heavier. Family members were supportive, but some friends and colleagues looked at her with surprise, sometimes even judgment. The twins weren't just a blessing, they had become a topic of discussion and speculation. "Are you sure you want to keep both?" asked her colleague Laura, a mixture of curiosity and concern in her voice. "Yes," Samantha replied firmly. "They are my children. No matter the challenges." Yet despite her confidence, Samantha sometimes felt the weight of the stares and whispers. She wondered if she would be able to handle it all, the sleepless nights, the responsibilities, the finances. Daniel, ever present, reassured her as much as he could. "Samantha, look at yourself. You're stronger than you think. And we're not alone. These twins, they'll change us, but they won't break us." One afternoon, Samantha went to the small neighborhood bookstore to find a book on multiple pregnancies. The owner, a smiling elderly woman named Mrs. Green, greeted her warmly. "Oh, twins," exclaimed Mrs. Green, seeing Samantha. "What an adventure." Samantha smiled, but a slight apprehension made her frown. "Yes, an adventure," she said softly. Mrs. Green, seeing his hesitation, placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "You know, my dear, every challenge has its beauty. Children bring surprises, sometimes difficult, but always precious. Trust your heart." These words resonated within Samantha, reminding her of the psychic and the future she had glimpsed. Perhaps all those outside voices, those judgments or worries, were just echoes. The only voice that truly mattered was that of her heart and her family. As she walked home, Samantha felt a mixture of fear and determination. The life she had chosen would not be easy, but every future smile from her children would be a victory over her doubts and fears. And for the first time in a long time, she felt a breath of peace accompany her, as if an invisible thread were guiding her toward a destiny she could no longer ignore. As the months passed, Samantha's pregnancy entered a phase where each day brought its own challenges. The twins moved more and more, gently and then vigorously hitting the walls of her belly, reminding Samantha of their constant, living presence. But with this vitality also came discomfort, persistent morning sickness, crushing fatigue, and sometimes pain that forced her to slow down. Even walking a few blocks became a monumental effort. Daniel, attentive, supported her every step, carrying the shopping bags, preparing meals, and ensuring she got enough rest. "I don't know how you stay so strong," he whispered one evening as they sat together on the couch. "Because I have no choice," Samantha replied with a tired smile. "And then there are them, our babies." Samantha felt a surge of determination. Every little kick from the twins was a reminder that her decision had been the right one, but she also realized that this path would not be without fear and sacrifice. One morning, as she was leaving for her prenatal appointment, Samantha met a neighbor, Claire, an energetic and maternal woman, who always seemed full of advice. "Oh, Samantha. How are the twins?" Claire asked, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "Good, very good," Samantha replied, trying to hide her fatigue. Claire watched Samantha carefully and placed a hand on her rounded belly. "You know, it's going to be a big change, but you're more ready than you think. And besides, you have Daniel. You'll get through this together." These words, though ordinary, struck Samantha as confirmation of what she had already felt: she was not alone. She realized that every person she met could either support her or discourage her, but that deep down, only her determination and the love of her family truly mattered. That evening, as she lay down to rest, Samantha thought about the psychic. Every vision, every piece of advice, every small gesture that day had been a silent guide. She understood that sometimes life showed us the way in subtle ways, and that courage consisted of following that path, even when fear arose. As night fell over the city, Samantha felt a particularly strong stirring in her stomach. The twins were there, alive and vibrant. And Samantha smiled, determined to face whatever challenges came her way, ready to give all her love to these little lives she had chosen to protect. As Samantha entered her 6th month of pregnancy, the challenges took on a new form. Beyond the physical difficulties, it was external pressures and the judgments of others that began to weigh on her. At work, some colleagues, although outwardly polite, whispered behind her back. "2 babies at once, can you imagine what that entails?" one of them said quietly, with a forced smile. Samantha felt a pang of irritation but remained silent. She knew that criticism didn't define her worth or the value of her decision. Daniel, for his part, continued to support her, always ready to listen and encourage her. "Ignore them, Samantha," he said, holding her hand after a long day. "What matters is us and our babies. We'll get through this together." But it wasn't just at work that Samantha faced obstacles. Finances were becoming a source of tension. Medical bills, groceries for 2 babies, and home improvements sometimes seemed insurmountable. Samantha found herself staying up late into the night, calculating every expense and looking for ways to save. One evening, as she collapsed on the sofa, Daniel sat down next to her and took her hands. "Listen to me, Samantha. I know this is hard, but we've always found a way to weather storms. And this one is no different. We're going to ask for help, plan every step. We don't have to carry it all alone." Samantha felt a mixture of gratitude and relief. She understood that accepting help did not mean weakness, but strength and wisdom. She remembered the psychic's words, "Sometimes courage isn't about facing everything alone, but about accepting the support that life offers you." The next day, Samantha decided to meet with a financial advisor to develop a clear plan for the pregnancy and the arrival of the twins. She also began talking to her close friends, creating a strong circle of support. Little by little, she felt a new strength growing within her. Judgments and difficulties lost their weight in the face of the love for her children and Daniel's unconditional support. Every tiny movement of the twins, every heartbeat on the ultrasound, strengthened her determination. Samantha realized that life wouldn't spare her challenges, but that she now had the tools and resilience to face them. And every day, she moved a little closer to the bright future the psychic had shown her, where fear gave way to love and hope. One morning, as Samantha entered her 7th month, she felt an unusual pain in her lower abdomen. Alarmed, she called Daniel, who immediately ran over. His face reflected the panic he was trying to hide. "Samantha, what's going on?" he asked, his voice trembling. I don't know, it's different, it's stronger than usual," she replied, tears in her eyes. Daniel accompanied her to the hospital, his heart pounding. There, the doctors were reassuring but cautious. After several tests, they discovered a threat of premature labor. Samantha had to stay in bed for a few days to protect the twins. This news shook Samantha more than she expected. Being immobilized meant being completely dependent on Daniel and outside help, something she hadn't anticipated. She felt vulnerable, but also determined to do whatever was necessary to keep her children safe. "We're going to get through this," Daniel whispered, settling her comfortably into the hospital bed. "I'm here, Samantha. Every step, every minute, I'm there." During those days of bed rest, Samantha had a lot of time to reflect. She remembered the psychic and her vision of the twins, laughing and happy, filling their home with light. This future seemed within reach, but she also understood that every miracle required patience, courage, and perseverance. Daniel became her pillar of strength. He cooked, read to her, entertained her with anecdotes and stories, and was always by her side, reassuring her at every turn. Samantha realized that Daniel's love and support were just as essential to her twins as medical care. By the end of her hospital stay, Samantha felt stronger and more determined than ever. She had faced a real fear and survived. The twins were moving actively, as if to remind her that they were there, strong and full of life. Upon returning home, Samantha felt a breath of fresh air blow through her daily life. There would be many physical and emotional challenges, but she now knew that nothing could extinguish her determination. Each challenge brought her closer to the future the psychic had foreseen, a bright future, filled with love, laughter, and happiness for her and her twins. With the 7th month well underway, Samantha and Daniel decided it was time to prepare the house for the twins' arrival. Every corner, every room was carefully designed to welcome 2 new beings, from their beds to their clothes, including toys and the little details that would make their house a real home. Samantha, despite her fatigue, threw herself into this preparation with renewed enthusiasm. She chose each color, each pattern, imagining the children's laughter echoing through the rooms. Daniel, ever present, provided practical support, assembling the furniture and installing the safety equipment. "I can't believe they'll be here soon," Samantha whispered, sitting on the floor of the twins' room, surrounded by tiny stuffed animals and clothes. "Me neither," Daniel replied, his eyes shining. "But I know one thing, you'll be an incredible mother. And I'll be there every moment." During this time, Samantha also began to experience moments of doubt and anxiety. She worried that she wasn't good enough, that she lacked patience or skills. Every little worry seemed to amplify her fears, but each kick from the twins swept them away, reminding Samantha of the strength and life she carried within her. One afternoon, while she was sorting through her things, Samantha received an unexpected call from the psychic. "Hello, Samantha," said the woman's soft but assured voice. "How are my little miracles doing?" I'm fine," Samantha replied, moved. "Thank you again for the day we met. You showed me the light when I couldn't see it." The psychic smiled through the phone. "Miracles require patience and courage, Samantha. You have chosen the difficult path, but the one that leads to true happiness. Keep believing, keep loving, and everything will be fine." After that call, Samantha felt lighter, as if a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. She realized that sometimes support came not only from those she saw every day, but also from those who guided her with words and visions. In the following weeks, Samantha and Daniel finished preparing the rooms, setting up the cribs, and creating a safe and welcoming environment. Every detail, every object chosen, was a step closer to the future they had imagined. As the sun set over their house, Samantha placed her hand on her stomach and felt both twins move simultaneously, as if to encourage her. She smiled, filled with gratitude and determination. The moment was approaching, and she was ready. The 8th month of pregnancy arrived, and with it, excitement mixed with apprehension. Samantha felt the twins move constantly, their little kicks a reminder that they were ready to enter the world. Every night, she woke up several times, her heart pounding, feeling both the joy and fear of the impending labor. Daniel, true to his role, made sure she got as much rest as possible. He prepared nutritious meals, helped her get up, and often lay beside her to calm her worries. "You're amazing, Samantha," he said one evening, his hand resting on her stomach. "They're already lucky to have you as a mother." "I hope so," Samantha murmured, gently stroking her stomach. "But I admit I'm nervous. I don't know if I'll be up to it." To ease her fears, Daniel reminded her of all they had already overcome, the criticism, the financial difficulties, the moments of uncertainty. Each trial had brought them closer and made them stronger. Then, one Thursday night, as Samantha was getting ready for bed, she felt a different contraction, more intense and regular. Her breathing quickened. "Daniel. I think it's starting," she said, her voice trembling but excited. Without missing a beat, Daniel helped her get ready for the hospital. The journey was filled with tension and anticipation, but also with a strange sense of wonder. Samantha felt the life she was carrying draw closer and closer, and each contraction brought her closer to her children. At the hospital, doctors confirmed that labor had begun. Samantha was placed in a room prepared for a safe delivery. The pain was intense, but each push was accompanied by thoughts of her babies, their future smiles, and the love waiting for them outside. Daniel stayed by her side, holding her hand, whispering encouragement and words of love. Through each contraction, Samantha felt supported, protected, and more determined than ever. After several harrowing hours, a scream broke the silence of the delivery room. The first baby had been born. A few minutes later, the second followed, as strong and healthy as the first. Samantha cried, exhausted but filled with indescribable happiness. They're perfect, she murmured in wonder, taking the two little ones in her arms. Yes, they're perfect, Daniel repeated, his eyes shining with tears. Welcome to our world, my darlings. Samantha felt the psychic in a corner of her mind, as if her warning and guidance had been preparing for this moment from the beginning. Every kick, every smile, every look from the twins confirmed that the decision to keep them had been the best of her life. That night, Samantha and Daniel fell asleep, exhausted but fulfilled, knowing their lives had taken a magical and definitive turn. The twins were there, and with them, hope, love, and a future filled with promise. The first few days at home with the twins were a whirlwind of emotions for Samantha and Daniel. Between diapers, feedings, and crying, every moment seemed both exhausting and magical. Samantha spent her days observing her children's small faces, fascinated by the perfection of their features and the softness of their hands. Every gesture, every breath, every little smile became a precious treasure. Daniel, for his part, proved to be an attentive and patient father, helping Samantha every step of the way and sharing the role in an exemplary manner. Look at them, Samantha, they're finally asleep, Daniel murmured one evening, exhausted but happy, as he gently placed his twins in their cribs. Yes, they're perfect, Samantha breathed, a tired smile lighting up her face. Yet, despite the joy, fatigue was making itself felt. Sleepless nights piled up, worries about the baby's health returned again and again, and Samantha sometimes felt her courage waver. But every cry from her children, every small movement, was a reminder that they had overcome adversity from the very beginning, and that their presence was a victory over all past fears and doubts. One afternoon, Samantha received an unexpected visit, the psychic. I wanted to see how you were doing, she said softly, a kind smile on her face. We're getting there, Samantha replied, moved. It's exhausting, but every moment is wonderful. The seer nodded, her eyes shining with satisfaction. You made the right choice, Samantha. These children, they are your future, and thanks to your courage and love, you are giving them the best possible start. These words resonated deeply with Samantha. She understood that every difficulty, every moment of doubt, was part of the path to lasting happiness. Family life, with its challenges and joys, was a fragile but beautiful balance. As the days passed, Samantha and Daniel began to organize themselves. Daily tasks became more fluid, routines fell into place, and stress gradually gave way to a newfound confidence. Every smile the twins shared, every burst of laughter, every little glance they exchanged with their parents strengthened the family bond and the love that united them. As the house filled with laughter and movement, Samantha finally felt complete. The twins weren't just a blessing, they were living proof that life could change dramatically when you dared to believe and choose the right path. A few weeks later, Samantha and Daniel's house echoed with laughter, chirps, and cautious footsteps on the wooden floor. The twins were growing fast, each with their own personalities, expressions, and little habits. Samantha and Daniel marveled every day, realizing how much their decision had changed their lives. One sunny morning, while they were having breakfast together, the doorbell rang. Samantha opened the door and found herself face to face with the psychic, her face lit up with a kind smile. I wanted to see your miracles, she said softly. They're perfect, Samantha whispered, her eyes shining with emotion. The seer watched the twins playing on the carpet, laughing and discovering the world with curiosity. You made a courageous choice, Samantha, the psychic said. Life has tested you, and you have responded with love and determination. Always remember that the most difficult path can lead to the purest happiness. Then, like a light breath, the seer turned toward the door, ready to leave. Before disappearing, she added, every life you touch, every decision you make with your heart, leaves a mark. You chose life, and this life will repay you 100-fold. Samantha gently closed the door, feeling a deep peace fill her. She looked at Daniel, and together they contemplated their twins, two little lives filled with innocence and love. We did it, Daniel murmured, squeezing Samantha's hand. Yes, we chose life, she replied, her heart overflowing with gratitude. That day, Samantha realized that every fear, every doubt, and every challenge she had faced had meaning. Her twins weren't just a blessing, they were a symbol of her courage and the strength of her family. And as the sun shone on the house, Samantha, Daniel, and their children began a new life, a life full of laughter, love, and promise, guided by the courage and choices they had made together. Life, Samantha thought, is sometimes surprising, but when you follow your heart, it always becomes magnificent.